Georgie, you want to say hi? Hi, good job. We are enjoying, I just needed you guys to see this amazing mess that happens when Georgie eats lunch. Are you a sloppy eater, George? Yeah. Oh. Hi, Mr. Calamaris.
Hi, go Seahawks.
You guys, this is going to be a great lesson because we are getting into lesson. Oh, there's Cal. Cal, you want to say hi?
I don't watch it.
I don't watch it. Do you want to say with Mama? We are going to get into lesson 8, and we're going to multiply more complicated numbers.
I don't watch
And
it.
we are going to, oh, you're showing the kids? Yeah, Cal's watching Hotel Transylvania while Mama does the math video. He loves this movie, you guys. It's so funny. So we're getting ready for Halloween. Are you excited for Halloween, Cal? What are you going to say on Halloween, Cal? Are you going to say trick or treat? We went to the zoo this morning, you guys, and we got to feed the penguins. It was so fun. Cal dropped these tiny fish into the penguin exhibit. He was under the instruction of the zookeeper. He didn't just bring fish and do it by himself. Yeah, do you guys see this messy eater? Okay, so we're getting into lesson 8. It's going to be so refreshing because it's much it's less complicated than we were looking at last week. We're going to be multiplying multi-digit numbers, but we're going to use estimation to guide us so that we can take a look at the final product and determine if it's reasonable or not. Oh, thank you, George. Yum, yum, yum. Georgie is covered in yogurt. This is what meals look like in Georgie's world. Oh, thank you. Want to share some of the kids? Nom, 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 nom. Cool. So, Georgie, you want to say bye-bye? We're going to do some math practice. Can you say bye-bye, George? Say have a great week in math land, you guys. I'm really proud of you. Say bye-bye, George. I hope you guys are enjoying your Sunday. Let's do a little bit of math, and then you can get back to relaxing. Here we go. Good job, George. Okay, guys. I am so excited for lesson 8. We'll go ahead and put down today's date. So lesson 8 on the 28th of October 2018. I love this lesson because we're doing some estimating, and you guys know that when we're estimating, things are fairly loose. You kind of just go with your gut and you change, no offense 213, but you change 213 to more friendly numbers. You're going to change 328 into something more friendly. Not to say that you are not friendly 328, but everyone knows something that ends with 2 zeros is really easy to multiply. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We haven't even read the instructions here. Estimate the product first. Solve by using the standard algorithm. Use your estimate to check the reasonableness of the product. Beautiful. So we're just going to go ahead and round, and then we're going to multiply the numbers using the standard algorithm, and then we're going to see, we just want to make sure that the numbers are pretty close to one another. This A has been done partially for us. We'll finish this. So 213, as I said, has been rounded to 200. 328 has been rounded to 300. And then Eureka has filled this part in. 2 times 3 is 6, as you guys know. And then we're bringing 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros to the party. So when we finish our standard algorithm here, the product should be fairly close to 60,000. Lesson 8 is really helpful to make sure that we're keeping our place values under control. Ooh, that's really trying to zoom in. That was a bit much. Okay, so let's look at the standard algorithm. So we're going to multiply the 8 into the 3, 1, and 2, and then we're going to multiply the 20 into 3, 1, and 2. And then the third line will be 300 multiplied into 3, 1, and 2. So let's look at 8 times 3. Well, I know that one. 8 times 3 is 24. I'm going to bring my 2 over. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 2 is 10. My 1 over. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 1 is 17. So please be very careful here, guys. Make sure everything is lined up. Now we're going to multiply this 20 into 3. What is 20 times 3? Now we're here in the second line. 20 times 3 is 60. Now we're going to look at 2 times 1, which is 2. And then 2 times 2, which is 4. I'm really working hard to make sure everything stays lined up. Now we're going into the third line, and we're looking at 300. This 3 is in the hundreds place value. So please remember that it's 300 times 3. 300 times 3 is 900. Here on the first line, you guys, we're multiplying ones into the numbers, so we don't have any zeros. Here on the second line, we're multiplying tens into all of the numbers up top. So we have 1 0. That's a tens place value. This is the ones place value in the first line. And this third line, my friends, we're multiplying 300 into 3, 1, and 2. So that's our hundreds place value. So please make sure that the third line has 2 zeros because we're multiplying a 300. Our second line has 1 zeros because that's our tens place value. Our first line is our ones place value. I'm not saying if the product ends in 0, sure, but we're not automatically going to have a 0 in our ones place value. Okay, so let's go back. We did 300 times 3, which is 900. Now we're going to look at 3 times 1 is 3. We've already established our place value. Think about the fact that this is a 300 times a 1, and that's not actually a 1, it's a 10. So it's actually 300 times 10, which is 3,000. This 3 is actually in the thousands place value. And think about all of the work that we did in our place value in Module 1. We did so much work looking at thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones. And the reason why we took so much careful time studying the place value chart and studying what happens when you multiply numbers by powers of 10 and what happens to them, that work, you guys, really supports what we're doing right now. So I just want you to constantly connect to that. And now we're looking at 3 times 2, which is 6. Keep in mind, that's not a 3, it's a 300, and that's not a 2, it's a 200. So it's actually 300 times 200, which is 6 with 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So now we have 1, 2, 3 partial products. What we need to do is add them up. So I have 4 plus 2 zeros is a 4. 0 plus 6 plus 0 is a 6. And then we have 7 plus 2. Hi, special friend. Is 7 plus 2 is 9. Plus 9 is 18. And then we're going to carry our 1 over. We have 1 plus 1 is 2. Plus 4 is 6. Plus 3 is 9. And then we have our 6 there. So our final product here is 69,864. We need to go up here and look at our estimated product. What we're really checking for here is place value. Yes, they're 9,864 units apart, but they're in the proper place value. If for some reason, this is our final product here. If for some reason I ended up with a product of 698,641, we know we would have a big problem because those place values are not very close. So this looks really good, you guys. We're going to take a look at a couple more problems here. From that same section we were just looking at, we are going to do estimate first, and then we'll do the traditional algorithm. And we're going to do an estimate by rounding both of these numbers to more friendly numbers. So 4,390 times 741. 4,390 is fairly close to 4,000. It's closer to 4,000 than 5,000. Remember, these numbers are infinitely lazy, and all they want to do is eat ice cream and watch Netflix. So 4,390 is going to round down to 4,000 because that's closer than 5,000. 741, same. It's going to round down to 700. Let's think about what 4,000 times 700 is. 4 times 7, I know for certain, is 28. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros coming along to the party. 3, 4, 5, which turns out to 2,800,000. Okay, so this is going to be our test for our final product to make sure when we use the standard algorithm that our standard algorithm is precise and perfecto. So now we're just going to stack these numbers one on top of another, making sure that all of the place values are aligned. We have our ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands. And then we're just going to multiply our 1 into 0, 9, 3, and 4 in that order. And then our 40 into 0, 9, 3, and 4. And then our 700 will also be multiplied into 0, 9, 3, and 4. So let's go. 1 times 0. Oh, interesting. Is 0. We're not putting a 0 here to hold a place value. We're putting a 0 here because 1 times 0 is 0. Let's look at 1 times 9. I've got that. It's 9. 1 times 3. Thank you, Grayson. 3. And then Sebastian, 1 times 4. Beautiful. Thank you. We're going to the second line. Now we're multiplying our 40 in. 40. So our 4 is in our tens place value. 40 times 0. Goodness sakes. We are kind of getting an easy start. 40 times 0 is 0. We have to put a double 0 here to make note for the fact that now we're in tens land. Remember our first line, ones, second line, tens, and then when we get to our third line, we'll be looking at hundreds. Okay, so now we have 4 times 9, which is 36. We have our 6 and carry our 3 over. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 3 is 15. Thank you, Victoria. Bring our 1 over. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 1 is 17. Thank you, Miss Violetta. I am finished with these numbers. I'm going to cross them out so that they don't confuse us later. Now we're going into our third line, you guys. Our third line, we're looking at hundreds. This is 700 times 0. 700 times 0 is 000. We have to put 1, 2, 3 zeros to note the fact that we're now, our third line, we're looking specifically at hundreds. Next, we're going to look at 7 times 9. 7 times 9 is 63, so we're going to put down our 3, and we're going to carry our 6. Next, we look at 7 times 3, which is 21. 21 plus 6 is 7. Thank you, Muthu. And now we have 7 times 4, which is 28. 28 plus 2, thank you, Millen, is 30. Okay, so now we have 3 partial products that need to be added together. Let's look at our first column in our ones place value. We have a 0. And we have 9 plus zeros is 0. We have 3 plus 6 plus 0 is 9. 4 plus 5 is 9. 9 plus 3 is 12. Put our 2 down, carry the 1 over. 7 plus 7 is 14. Plus 1 is 15. Thank you, Olivia. Carry our 1 over again. We have 1 plus 1 is 2. And then we have our Kel's excited about this. So let's put our commas in. We start to the far right when we're putting in our commas. We count 1, 2, comma, 1, 2, 3, oops, I miscounted that. 1, 2, 3, comma, 1, 2, 3, comma. Okay, so as far as place value goes, is 2,800,000 close to 3,252,900? We're going to say yes. I know those numbers aren't super close together, but keep in mind, you guys, we are using our estimate to guide the place value. Our number in our final product is in the 1 million. The furthest place value to the left is in the 1 million column. Same here. We have 1 million. If we were looking at a number that was in the 10 millions, maybe it was 13 million, comparing that to our estimate, which is 2,800,000, we know something would be very off. So let's look at one more, you guys, and please remember that when we're using these estimates, we're using these estimates to guide our place value, and we want to ask ourselves in the very end, is this reasonably close? And it's not super close. I totally agree with you, but as far as a reasonability test goes, it is close enough as far as place value is concerned. One more here. We are going to look at blah, 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 blah. Georgie's saying blah, blah, blah. We're going to look at a word problem. Pretty straightforward here. A publisher prints 1,912 copies of a book in each print run. If they print, that means like each round of printing. If they print 305 runs, meaning rounds of printing, the manager wants to know about how many books, estimation, how many books will be printed. What is a reasonable estimate? Woohoo, I love this, because all we have to do, if we needed to know precisely how many books would be published, we would have to solve 1,912 times 305. But they are not looking for a precise answer. We love a reasonable estimate and about. Those are really fun words to see in a word problem because we'll be rounding, which hopefully means we'll be able to do this mentally. 1,912 rounds really well to 2,000. It's practically touching 2,000. So it just has to reach up and round to 2,000. 305 is going to reach down to 300. We have these both rounded. Now we can just do our amazing mental math and multiply 2,000 by 300. 2 times 3 is 6. Then how many zeros are we bringing to the party? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put in our commas. About 600 books will be printed. Pretty cool. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, you guys. I'm excited to get back to business on Monday. See you then.